Hi. So I know it's been a while, but I have something that I want to share that's very exciting. So I got something in the mail today, and oh, that's so sweet. I'm literally just opening it, and it is the Tarot of Bones. So it's still got the plastic on it and everything, and this is from Lupa, and she even wrote me a little wolf in there, and um, oh, it's very sweet. I'm very excited about it. So, uh, I will admit that I have been actually reading this. You can get the book on Kindle Unlimited for free. So I actually have been reading the beginning of the book just in anticipation of getting this set. Lupa did send this to me for review, and I found her on Patreon. So she's on Patreon under Lupa Greenwolf, and her website is www.thegreenwolf.com. And she makes absolutely gorgeous, like, bone and fur. A lot of them are like costumes. So a lot of them are for ritual. If you're pagan or if you're Wicca, they're amazing. I don't do a lot of formal ritual in any of my spiritual practice, so I look at them and I covet them, but I probably would not have much of a use for them, so I have not purchased them, but she does sell all of these different um, ritual items, and she also, if you follow her on Patreon, and you don't have to pay anything to follow her on Patreon, you can just follow her. She will post the new things that she's creating. I think her work is just absolutely amazing, what she does. And then when I saw that she was putting out this tarot deck, I was very, very excited. So I love tarot, as most of you know. And so what I thought I would do, I'm sorry about, okay, deep breaths. So I'm excited. You guys have probably seen me do like unboxing kind of stuff before, and I get very excited. And so the beginning is not always terribly relaxing, but now it will be, I promise. So I'm going to take the plastic off of the tarot deck, and I'm going to do a tarot reading for all of us. And I'm going to use the under your nose spread, which these are gorgeous. Oh my gosh. So I have looked at these online, a lot of them, but there aren't a lot of pictures online yet. So that is the back of each of them. Beautiful. So it's got parts of a skull in there and a shell and stones. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but this is the Fool card. Oh, I'm really excited. So I'm going to just show you some of the major arcana. There's the Magician card. That's the one that's on the cover of the box. And I couldn't tell what it was for a little while. And it's a snake skeleton in a circle. And there's the High Priestess. Oh, these are cool. So one of the reasons I'm so excited about these is my son is completely obsessed with bones. So he is the Emperor. He draws skeletons and skulls and bones all the time. My mother-in-law, a couple of years ago, got him a 3/4 size x-ray of the entire body, so it's all the different parts at 3/4 size. There's about 25 different x-rays, and they're real x-rays. They're very cool. So, oh, that's the Chariot. Oh, look at that. Justice. Okay, so I am going, oh, look at the moon. Look at the moon. All right. So I'm not going to go through this whole deck because that's weird. But I'm going to shuffle these. I don't do very fancy ritualistic things when I get a new tarot deck. I know some people shuffle them like cards. For some reason, I had always been told you shouldn't do that with tarot decks, and part of it is just um, it's not very kind to the cards. It kind of wears the cards out. I love shuffling like that with the bridge and everything. I learned how to do it as a kid. I was very proud of myself. But I don't do it with tarot decks because I don't want to wear out my tarot decks. And I don't need to shuffle them a whole lot in the beginning because I don't pick from the top when I do tarot spreads anyway. I don't make them totally flat, but then I use my intuition to pick throughout, and usually, like, I don't know, I'll tend to pick like in the middle of two that are sticking out. I don't know, that's just how I tend to do it. So they don't have to be perfectly shuffled for me to be able to do a reading where I won't get all in a row. So what I am going to do is I'm actually going to move the camera down and slide back so I can lay out the spread for you. So if you don't mind, I'm going to look in my lap. Hi, lap. All right, I'm going to move back. I have a fancy skirt on today because actually it's a fancy skirt that I have had since high school because it's very hot here today. So if I look a little shiny by the end of this video, it is all for the love of you because it is hot in here and I didn't want the air conditioning on. Okay, so I'm going to try to make it so you can see this and line this up the way it would make sense for you. Okay, so the Three of Wands is our first card, and that is, actually that would go up here. Okay, and that is, what answer is right in front of me? And number two is the devil. Dun, dun, dun. And he goes right here. Although most of you know the devil card's not that scary. Okay, and that is, how do I cultivate hidden truths? And so here's another card. It's the Four of Cups. And I'll get closer and show these to you. But that one is, what limiting belief must I release? Oh, and the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man goes right here. And that is, am I willing to change? And number 5 is the Two of Wands. Wonderful. And that is, what would I embrace if I allowed myself? And the Ten of Pentacles, which you can't see, well, I'm going to kind of move it up here in between so that you can see it. So although in the spread it would go a little bit farther down. So that is, can I look at myself and see what the universe sees? And then just one more. Oh, these are such beautiful cards. I really like them. They're also very heavy. They feel really nice. Okay, so this is the Page of Cups, which is, what possibility exists that I can't possibly imagine or comprehend at the moment? Okay, so I'll just kind of put the rest of the cards right there so you can see them. And they're pretty, pretty. And I'm sure very soon you will be able to see more of them online. So, but for right now, we're going to start off with the Three of Wands, which I will hold closer so that you can see it. Three of Wands. I like the blue of that one. And I'm going to read you her interpretations. I'm probably not going to read the whole thing, or else this will be the longest video ever. But maybe I will. Okay. The card description. I'm going to read at least the first part of this one. A trio of coyote ulnas Play follow the leader across a map. The map shows a variety of landmarks from mountains to roads, open for exploration. That's so cool. While for most of the Pip's bones, I didn't choose specific. The coyote ulnas were a deliberate choice here. Some species like wolves and bears have retreated from the areas where humans have intruded and made over the land in our image. The coyote, on the other hand, has adapted beautifully, able to find food, shelter, and mates from the suburbs to the deep urban areas. Coyotes are willing to try new survival tactics when many other species would die out, and that's one of the secrets of their success. This also echoes my choice of the coyote for the fool as she heads out to find her own territory. So that was the first card that I showed you in the deck. As coyotes have expanded their range, there's more land for youngsters to hunt and den in. And as humans, it can be exhilarating for us too to explore new places and possibilities. I tried to convey the feeling of movement and excitement in the 3 bones arrayed across the map. That is really cool. This book is very cool. So in the beginning, she kind of talks about her inspiration for making the deck and talks about kind of why she does what she does with bones and nature items. So it's interesting, but I really like that she talks about she gives an inspiration section for every card. So the meaning of the 3 of Wands. Pack your bags and get ready for a trip. The 3 of Wands is a card of adventure, exploration, and new horizons. By this point, I'm in a good place. I've laid the groundwork for my life as it currently is, and now is a great time for the mind through learning and socializing. It's also a card of curiosity and adaptability. Now, that is her interpretation of the 3 of Wands. She has 2 more paragraphs here as well and talks about reversals. I don't tend to use reversals. Sometimes I do, but not that often. So I'll also kind of give you my interpretation of the 3 of Wands. For me, often means that something is coming to fruition, that that kind of a new adventure may be starting, but it's something you've already started working on usually. So the question in the spread is what is right in front of me. So there may be something new that you want to start, or something that you have put into place that is now coming to fruition. So look at kind of what is coming into your life, whether it be a new opportunity or whether it be kind of the opportunities coming from work that you've already done. And that would be my interpretation of what answer is right in front of me. And this is a reading for all of us. So I'm not going to keep it really specific, because you should, when you think about that, you should either know what this is that's just come into your life, or in the next couple of days, there should be something that comes up for you. So number 2 is the Devil. Let's look closer at that card. It's beautiful. And that question is, what do I cultivate? How do I cultivate hidden truths? So let me find the Devil in here. Here's the Major Arcana. And I'm not going to read that much from each of these. So, a resin replica lion skull. Oh, that's a lion skull. Cool. Roars out, kindling fear in all who hear it. Oh, roars out, kindling fear in all who hear it. A wildfire devours the grasslands. Oh, that's what's behind there in the background. Okay, I am not going to read the inspiration on this. Again, because they're really long. But she talks about why she chose the lion instead of the goat, which is more commonly chosen for the devil. I really like that. I'm going to spend a lot of time reading this book, I think. One of the main themes of the devil is abuse of authority and addiction to power. When this card pops up in my reading, I know I probably need to steel myself for the arrival of someone who is going to try and mess my life up simply because they think they can. So how do I cultivate hidden truths? So when I think of the devil, I think of addiction and obsession for myself. So the hidden truth may be that it's time to let go of something that is not helping you at the moment. So if it's something you want to cultivate, you want to cultivate the space to bring in something new. And again, she has different interpretations than I do, and if it doesn't fit, for me, I always kind of read through the descriptions more to see if someone else's interpretation is helpful and gives me more insight. So it could be a person, but I don't think so in this case, considering the type of spread that we're doing. All right, number 3, is this one, is the 4 of Cups. Oh, I want to know what those bones are. I like looking through the book and having it tell me what each of the bones are. So what limiting belief must I release? And let's look up the 4 of Cups. The 4 of Cups is made of a stained brown background filled with slices, gouges, and marks. Amid this, one little white-tailed deer rib has found a bit of peace in a shelter created by 3 others. Okay, so this is a shelter of deer ribs. And then that's one small deer rib in the middle. So her interpretation of the card is, when this card shows up, it's almost always a signal to retreat and take some time to recuperate. Okay, I agree with that. Sometimes taking time out for quiet contemplation is the best solution. I've likely been overscheduling myself socially, or perhaps working on a few too many events. So what limiting belief must I release? So it may be that you can do everything. That's probably the limiting belief. For some of you, it may be that you're not strong enough to do what you want to do. But I think for most of us, it's probably going to be, I can do everything without any break. And that is your limiting belief. And unfortunately, when we try to do everything without any break, we generally don't do things well. And so you may accomplish more by taking some downtime and actually taking some time to just think and turning the television off and just, you know, looking out at a tree or something in your yard or anything, kind of any water that you may have around, and just taking time to sort of stare off into space and think. You may have completely new insights come to you. So the next card is the Hanged Man, which I don't think you can see really well on here. It's actually a very clear skull. But I think because of the way the coloring is, it's not showing up very clearly. Okay, so this one is, am I willing to change? There's the big question. Often we know what we need to do, but are we willing to do it? This is another replica, like the devil, of the lion skull. This is a replica of a two-toed sloth skull, and it hangs upside down within the green leafy branches of a tree. And the meaning of this one is, the sloth's slow nature fits in nicely with the Hanged Man message of slow your pace and be more mindful. We're so prone to rushing around from place to place, to obligation, to goal, that we often miss a lot along the way. So So I think the meaning of this one is pretty obvious because of this card. So unless you're one of the rare people who, for this card means, I don't feel like I have the strength. The Hanged Man is saying you need to take a break. So for those people who really need to push themselves but don't feel like they can, this card is telling you no, you're not willing to change because you want to take a break. For most of us, where this is saying, look, we can't do everything. We have to be able to take a break now and again. The Hangman is saying yes, we are ready to take a break. And the next card is the Two of Wands. I like the background on that one a lot too. I like the colors of the Wands cards. So this one is, what would I embrace if I allowed myself to? I found this spread recently. I really like it. And I was thinking I wanted to do a video with it because I think it's a good one. Because I think there's a lot of different options the way you can read this spread, so I thought it was a good one to have for everybody. A pair of wolf fibula creates an archway across a grassy landscape. Off in the distance, the sunrise heralds a brand new day full of possibilities. Wolf fibula, interesting. Okay, so the meaning, her meaning for this card is, do you feel optimistic? I certainly do, at least when the Two of Wands comes calling. When the Ace is the initial, hey, look at a new path, the Two is where I start down said path and am beginning to get a feel for the scenery. An archway marks the threshold between my usual comfort zone and a new territory. It is beckoning. It is a beckoning sign rather than a dreadful portent. So it's interesting because, you know, this is about kind of something probably that maybe you've been thinking about, but the opportunity has now come along, or something you've kind of worked on in the past, but it's really coming to fruition now. And then the card for what would I embrace if I allowed myself to is you would embrace this new thing. And it's not saying you're going to jump into it. It's not saying you're going to be very, very active at the moment, but you're embracing this new idea. You're embracing that this new thing could be in your life, and you could make space for it without, you know, killing yourself. You know, this may be more of a kind of spiritual practice or something that you do to take care of yourself more than a go, 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 go kind of activity. And then the 6 is, can I look at myself and see what the universe sees? So this is the 10 of Pentacles. So the universe has seen some awfully nice things about you. Let me read her interpretation of the 10 of Pentacles. So 10 vertebrae, oh, those are all vertebrae. I don't know if you can really see them. They kind of just look like dots on there. But when you have the card up close, you can see their little vertebrae. That's cool. 10 vertebrae are arrayed on a field of gold. Flowers and a gold charm add a sense of ease and contentment. So those are flowers, and that's a charm right there. And the meaning of the 10 of Pentacles is, were that we were all wealthy. We may not all become financially well off, but the 10 of Pentacles is a sign that I should be grateful for what success I do have. Somewhere in my life, at least, I've achieved enough stability to be able to rest on my laurels for a bit. So when it's what does the world see as, or can I look at myself and see what the universe sees? The universe sees abundance with you. Now, it may not be financial abundance. that's okay. It may be abundance in love and family. It may be abundance in joy. It may be abundance in health. It may be abundance in spirituality. You know, but the rest of the world is seeing this abundance, and you may be missing it. So pay attention to where you are abundant. And don't ignore that just because you may not have everything you want at the moment. So the Page of Cups is what possibility exists that I can't possibly imagine or comprehend at the moment. So you've got a new thing coming in, and if you relax and have gratitude for what you currently have, we'll see what possibility is coming through you. I still struggle with the page cards. Not as much, but I still often do look up the meaning of the court cards just to get new interpretations, because I do struggle with them a little bit. Because for me, they rarely mean people. So this could be a young person coming into your life, a young, caring person. For me, it's not usually. It's usually an aspect of myself. So this is a chicken skull, and it prepares the last bits of straw for her nest. The nest is cradled by a coyote rib, so there's the coyote rib at the bottom. And the meaning, when the Page of Cups comes up in a reading, it's a good sign that I'm about to experience an influx of creative inspiration. Yes, so it usually is for me as well. It's something about something that's coming up for me. And with the cups, I often don't think of love of a person. Sometimes it is, but it's usually like something I really love. So you've got something new coming in with these wands, and it's probably going to be something you love, love, love. The animal that comes to mind is a chicken on her nest waiting for the right time to lay her eggs. But there's preparation to be done before the studio is ready for new art or paper for the new story. So the card often calls me to think outside the nesting box. So this is a really interesting reading because you've got something new coming in, which you will probably love, but it is not time to jump at it. And that's what she says, like, you're building the nest for this new thing. So you're taking time, you're thinking about it, you're thinking about the best way you want to implement this. And you want to get your ducks in a row so that you do this the right way. And again, it may be a spiritual practice, so you don't want to jump into the very first thing that comes to mind. You want to make sure you're at the right place to support yourself. You want to make sure that you are making the right decisions. So take your time. There's not a rush. I'm going to bring this up to me again. There's not a rush to decide what to do, but you hopefully will have something wonderful that is coming to you. Oh, these cards are really lovely. So not only do I love the cards, which is important to me, I only pick tarot decks that are aesthetically pleasing to me. And I have never asked to do a review before because I am picky about my tarot decks. And when I saw this one and I saw it was by Lupa, I knew it was one I would need to have anyway. And I was very excited to do a video for you guys with it and to have these cards to show you. What I was not expecting to love as much is the book. So I don't get a lot of companion books for tarot cards anymore because I have kind of my little interpretations, and I know my interpretations pretty well. So I have some reference books that occasionally I look to when I'm stumped on a spread, but I really like the way she writes the interpretations for each of these. So I'm excited to work with the book as well. I also like that she has her inspiration for each of these. I think it will be very fun to work with this deck for a while. So you may see a few other videos. If you guys enjoy these videos with the tarot decks, let me know. I love making them. I don't tend to use tarot much for um, divination a whole lot. I use it more like a psychology tool. So so this whole spread is not about what's going to come in the future that I don't know about. This is about kind of what may already be in your life that you're missing. What do you need to think about in a different way? And that's the way that I use tarot cards. Uh, and I use oracle cards in my counseling practice as well. I would have people often pick a card. And it wasn't about kind of what's going to happen in your future. It's what's another way of looking at today and the way to think today. And so I really like using the cards in that way. And I think it'll be really fun to work with this deck. So whether you believe in tarot cards or not, I challenge you to think about them in the way that I do, as is there something you're missing? And that's why I picked that specific spread. Is there something going on psychologically that you could be missing that the tarot cards could pick out for you? So what's right in front of your nose, which is kind of the name of that spread. And if you love this deck, I will have all the information for you down in the description box as to how you can get it. But again, like I said, her website, there's also a website just for the Tarot of Bones, and it's www.thetarotofbones.com. So you can go there as well. And again, if you're kind of interested, but you're not sure if you want to buy the deck yet, if you have if you have Amazon Unlimited, Amazon Prime, you can get the book. You can like rent out the book right onto your Kindle, which is what I did, and which would have encouraged me to buy the deck no matter what anyway. Especially, I hadn't actually gotten to reading through the meanings of the cards yet. I had just been sort of reading through the introduction. So if I had kind of gone through that, it definitely would have had me interested in the cards. So feel free to check it out that way. Feel free to check out Lupa on Patreon. She's easy to find. If you went and searched for Lupa in Patreon, you would find her. And again, you don't have to give any money to follow her and then see the beautiful, beautiful things that she's making. And thank you to Lupa for sending this to me. And I love the little inscription. It makes me very happy. And I was terribly excited to get these today. So I hope you enjoyed the tarot reading. And I hope that you will check out more from Lupa if that's the kind of thing that you are interested in. Also checking out her, just looking at what she creates. Again, it's like, I just love looking at what she makes, even though I don't do a lot of purchasing of that kind of stuff. It's beautiful to look at. So thank you so much, and I love you guys, and I'll